Hi guys! If you've watched any of my other videos, you probably recognize this sort of intro screen. I made this when I started right off on YouTube and I kind of put it together pretty quickly. I like how it turned out. It's pretty cute. I still like it, but I think it's sort of inconsistent with the vibe of the thumbnails I've been doing lately, and I figured it was time for a refresh. I've been on YouTube for a year now and wanted to put a little more effort into my intro screen and overall channel branding. So I'm going to show you the process of me illustrating a new one today. I'm a graphic designer by trade, and this was a fun little project for me, kind of bringing my love of YouTube and books and whatnot together with my love of graphic design. So continue watching if you're interested to see how the hot dogs are made, I guess. Starting right off with a little thumbnail sketch I put together, really derpy, quick little 5-minute thing. Kind of trying to figure out sort of the background shape I want and the color palette that I want. Usually I struggle with colors when it comes to an illustration like this, but I pretty clearly knew what I wanted going in, like the overall vibe. I wanted to be sort of cozy and bookish, and I wanted to incorporate this mug. This is one I bought a year or two ago. It says Witch's Brew on it, and I like to drink tea out of it, and it reminds me of cozy times and reading and stuff, so I wanted to include it in the little logo, and it's a tiny little thing sitting right in the front, so I wanted to kind of address it first and break into the illustration with something easy. Right now I'm just trying to find a font that kind of matches the one that's on my cup. Didn't have anything downloaded, so I went to Adobe Fonts and found one called Mr. Darcy, which I thought was perfect. So just kind of getting that set up and sort of doing a little warp to kind of make it look like it's sitting on a not totally flat surface. And then I'm jumping into the background again and starting on the books. I thought this was going to be the easiest part. I was like, oh yeah, it's just a little stack of rectangles. No big deal. Oh, how wrong I was. I did struggle with sort of the colors on this, like the different books and stuff. I didn't quite know exactly what colors I wanted all the spines to be. I didn't want the color palette to be too crazy. I wanted it to be pretty simple. And this is where things got tough. I like the warp tool. It's a nice little shortcut, but sometimes it makes things a little more difficult. It doesn't really react the way I always expect it to whenever I try to like move the thing I have warped. So the first book was okay, but when I tried to sort of take a shortcut and copy and paste this same warp effect, it didn't want to like lay straight. It was giving me a hard time with this perspective. I was really struggling with that. So I spent more time on the second book, especially here, than I expected to, try to figure out what the heck I was doing, how perspective works, art fundamentals, really. Eventually I kind of settled. Oh no, I still haven't figured it out yet. It's kind of hard watching back on this and seeing myself struggle so much. I like to joke that whenever I'm being watched at doing a thing that I'm otherwise good at, I become 10 times worse at that thing. I don't know what sort of weird stage fright I have. It's like, I'm a graphic designer, I know how to do this, but even the idea of like recording this, I was like very self-conscious. It's like, man, people are gonna think I'm dumb, but you know what? Whatever, this is YouTube. I'm just doing it here for fun. Working on the third book in the stack now. Things go slightly easier from this point on. I did kind of play with the idea of making the spines a little more like decorated, kind of looking more like an old school leather bound book. I ultimately decided not to go that way because I didn't want things to get too detailed and busy. I really wanted something cute and simple, like the stack of books is enough. It suggests a stack of books. I didn't want things to get too lost in the weeds, so I kind of stuck with the more simple look and just some simple shading on the lower parts of the spines. I was still struggling a bit with the perspective, but I think I cared less at this point slightly. I was like, whatever, I'll fudge it. So I was getting kind of fed up with that, but I think again it worked out. I think it looks pretty cute, and it's not super noticeable that the perspective is a little wonky. Now that we've said that three or four times now, it's going to be pretty obvious to anybody who's watching, but whatever. And now for the part that I was both dreading and most excited about, and that is illustrating my kitty Rocket. I don't know what it is about cats. I've always had a hard time drawing them. even like pencil and paper, there's just something about the shape of their head throws me off. I don't know what it is. And there's sort of the added challenge of where Rocket is mostly black. It's a little difficult with the color scheme where, again, I wanted to keep it really simple, but you have to have just enough shading to kind of break up his body into recognizable sort of limbs and such, so he's not just a little just amorphous blob. So I didn't really quite have a battle plan going in. I was like, I'm just gonna start with the head and see what happens. And here I am kind of tracing his head. I didn't ultimately use that trace that I made, but it kind of helped me get a better feel of the shapes, the more like the simpler shapes that make up his head. So I stuck with sort of the squashed sphere that I had going on, or oval, I guess. And then I got some of his more identifying splotches on his face, kind of his little personality marks, what makes Rocket Rocket, and added another little oval to suggest his chin. It's starting to come together now. I felt a lot more confident at this point. I was like, that's a cat. Because again, I was really scared about this part. I was like, this is gonna be way too complex. I don't really have a lot of experience illustrating animals on Adobe Illustrator. I do with pencil and paper, but it's a different ballgame when I'm working with a mouse and a computer. So I was not super confident going into this, but I'm really happy with how he turned out. I think he looks super cute. And here I am playing with the shading again, kind of trying to get that suggestion of dimension without making it too complicated. And then I'm just sort of freehanding his body. This part was a bit easier for me just because, again, it's really the cat's heads that throw me off. Getting his little chicken drum of a leg in there and the rest of his body. Kind of trying to figure out if I want to go with like a darker black for the majority of the body with some highlights, or the lighter black with some shading to break up his body. So you're going to see me go back and forth on that a little bit, and getting his little white socks in there. He does wear a collar, but I figured the perspective that he's laying and you wouldn't be able to see it, so I didn't add that, but he has a little collar in real life with cats and moons on it. It's pretty cute. And yeah, there's Rocket. He's really come together at this point. I think he looks super cute and cozy, and again, that's sort of the whole vibe I was going for. Just adding some simple shading at this point, and adding some shading again onto the books, trying to make it like look like he's actually sitting on them, and then put him on the rest of the illustration that I have going on, also adjusting the size of the cup so it doesn't look like the cup is as large as Rocket. And then I wanted to add some cute little more details. I really quite like plants. That was a big thing in the bookshelf illustration I had for my initial channel intro, so I kind of wanted to keep that feeling but a little bit more simplified, and I just used the same illustration mirrored because I like the symmetry. Also adding shading on the cup. I opted for just a little bit more plant action, just something cute and simple, trying to kind of introduce those colors in other places, make the whole thing really cohesive. Squashed the arch down a little bit. Oh god, I had fun with this. So the main font I use on my little video icons is Cubano. It's really cute and simple, but it has a lot of personality, I think. It looks sort of informal and fun, without being too decorative. You know, it's pretty legible. So I wanted to use that in the little logo I was making to kind of tie it in better with the thumbnails that I do. And I had a really difficult time trying to figure out this type on a path tool. It was, again, it's one of those things, I know how to do this. I don't know why I was having such a hard time with it today, but now I'm kind of just trying to figure out what color I want to go with. My boyfriend suggested kind of something different to make it pop more, but I really wanted to keep to like a very cohesive, pared back color palette. And at this point, I was just sort of bouncing between the dark pink and the green. Oh, this is going to be my end screen, so the bit at the end that has the suggested videos. I wanted to make a little spot for those to go. I'm just stealing an Instagram little logo there, kind of spacing things out a bit better. Couldn't remember my Goodreads username, and then had a hard time trying to find the Goodreads logo. I got to the point where I tried to look up the font, but apparently it's not a common one, and I just ended up grabbing a picture and making it work. And now I'm just putting together what the banner is going to be. Again, very simple, very pared back kind of look, but I really like that. I like how it's clean, and I think it all came together really well. I'm really happy with how this came out. I think it's so cute. I'm really proud of myself. I feel like I nailed Rocket's look down. Like, that looks like my cat. So that was pretty much the best I could hope for at this point. I'm really happy. I started off with that quick little thumbnail sketch, and I was like, this is kind of what I'm going for. And it really came together along the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching sort of the process behind how I make my channel imagery and branding. I'm really excited with this new look going forward. It's, I think it speaks to me and my personality a little bit better, and just the vibe of the channel. So let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed this kind of video. I've been thinking about doing more graphic design related things on this channel, but I've been a little intimidated. Again, I get that sort of weird stage fright, but if you guys would like to see more kind of content like this, definitely let me know, and I'll try to kind of come up with some fun prompts, maybe bookish related stuff. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to my socials down below, and as always, have a lovely day, and thank you for watching. Bye!